To start, you are now the third CEO and president of the DCPA. What is that like, being only the third one and being the president?
Sure. Well, the DCPA has a long legacy in the Denver community, and the folks that have run the organization for years and years have really set this organization up to be one of the best in the country. And so it's a complete honor to be a part of the leadership team and to inherit such a beautiful organization that's well on its way to serving the entire region. And
I do agree. It is, the largest nonprofit theater company in the country. So when you got this job, was that daunting at all to take on such a large organization?
Sure. The size of the organization is really not what's daunting to me. Having been the chief of staff for the mayor of Denver, we had a really large organization, 26 departments and 13,000 staff. So I'm well equipped to run a large organization. But the intensity around being industry specific is really exciting, and I'm looking forward to learning a lot about what makes theater such a remarkable part of arts and culture for Colorado.
So, you said you worked in the mayor's staff beforehand in Denver, so you already had that Denver connection. What was some of your arts and culture connections beforehand?
Sure. My arts and culture connection to the DCPA started when I was a little girl. My mom always made sure that we had an opportunity to attend the Lincoln Center in Fort Collins. We didn't have a lot of money, but she knew that arts and culture were paramount in any type of experiential opportunities you provide a child. So it started when I was very young. And then over the years, I've stayed very invested, attended many shows at the DCPA, and actually served on the Colorado Creative Industries Council under two governors, under Governor Owens and Governor Ritter, and so had a wonderful opportunity to look across the 64 counties of Colorado and understand the importance of arts and culture for the state. And then working for Mayor Hancock, he really believed that having a cultural plan for the Denver community was a really important first step in identifying how we were going to make our investments. And so we worked on Imagine 2020, which was the city's first arts and cultural plan in almost 30 years. And then the Department of Arts and Venues had started a master planning effort to reimagine the future state of the Denver Performing Arts Complex. So working hand in glove with Arts and Venues now is really awesome opportunity.
And how is that reimagining going? Can you share anything about it?
Sure. So it's exciting that the mayor and the city and quite frankly the downtown community feel that the Denver Performing Arts Complex is such an anchor for the city. And so having, the opera, ballet, symphony, performing arts all on one campus is really exciting and very unique, quite frankly, across the country. So working collaboratively with the 4 resident companies and arts and venues to envision what the next stage will look like is happening right now. Lots of robust discussions around what the disruption will feel like for the, couple million patrons that come through the complex, but also being very visionary about how having world-class facilities can take us to the next level.
Exactly. So in this role, what would your direction or your vision for the DCPA be? Where do you want to see it go?
Sure. My vision for the DCPA is to keep doing what we do so well and then help us get more engaged in our community. So 2 things that we're really focused on. One is working with a consultant out of New York named Carmen Morgan to explore our commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusivity. And so it starts inside of the company before we really can take it into the community, but that work is well underway and it's very exciting. The second part is we've stood up a community development impact team. Right now our education program serves about 106,000 students in about 37 counties in the state of Colorado. And so our education work is really paramount, but there's a lot of other things we can be doing with other performing arts organizations and other communities that are underserved in the arts and culture space.
And I think one of the biggest things you got to work on now is just after your announcement, Kent Thompson kind of resigned as well, so we're looking for a new theater company executive director.
That's right.
Just last week, kind of more of the process was announced. Will you talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
How's that search going? How that's going to work?
Sure. Kent laid an incredible foundation for the DCPA, left quite a legacy. And so as we kick off our national search, we're doing an artistic visioning review. Where are we as an organization and where do we want to be in the future? And so what type of leader do we want to recruit and hire? And so we did a lot of listening. We held some town hall meetings with staff. We hired a consultant to help us think through where we are and where we want to go. And we've now retained a gentleman to help us lead the national search. We have a really thoughtful, well-rounded search committee that is comprised of staff and executives and our board, so that we'll have a lot of voices as we make this really important decision. And we're just excited to keep doing more of what we've been doing, but we'll have a different lens through the new leader.
In your opinion, what are some of those characteristics that you're looking for in that new leader?
Yeah, I think two characteristics really came through in the listening that we did. And the first was collaboration. You know, being a unique theater, because we have Broadway and we have a producing arm in the theater company, it's important that that collaboration really be fortified. And so providing Executive Director of Broadway, John Eckeberg, with a partner so that we can really figure out where there's new and different opportunities, perhaps through the New Play Summit, to put some of our own work on the larger stages is exciting. And again, through our education programming, figuring out how the theater company continue to be such an important partner to the education programming. The other thing I'd say is just visionary, just thinking about new work and what are the issues that are important in our time and how are we going to address it on the stage. We have an opportunity to talk about things that the rest of the country might be afraid to talk about sometimes, and so that's the type of leader, collaborative and visionary.
Awesome. So we've talked about the theater company. We got to talk about the Broadway division a little
Great.
bit. The two biggest ones coming soon, Frozen,
Yes.
August. That's the Broadway previews.
Yes, premiere.
Here. So what's that like having Frozen coming here?
Sure. So Disney Theatricals enjoys a really long partnership with the DCPA, from the Little Mermaid to the Lion King, and now with Frozen. This is a great opportunity for Disney Theatricals to introduce this new exciting show to the world. And we have such a dynamic audience. We will show up and sell out and celebrate every single thing that they're doing in our community. So it's a long process, and they'll learn a lot and take it back to New York, and then it'll help them refine the final product that'll go before Broadway and then, quite frankly, the country. So it's very exciting, and we're looking forward to welcoming them.
And May 1st, those tickets go on sale.
That's right.
And then we also got to talk about ways away still, but Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Of course, is coming to Denver.
Yes.
So talk some about Hamilton. Have you seen Hamilton?
I have seen
Oh,
Hamilton.
my goodness.
It's
What did you think of it?
wonderful. It was so sweet. I sat with John Eckeberg's wife, Jen, and she cried through almost the whole thing. She was so moved, and she had been listening to Spotify and, knew all the words to all the songs. And it's such a beautiful story, and it is as relevant then as it is today. And so the issues of race and equity and fear and political strife are so important. And I think that's part of what the beauty of the show is, that we tackle things that are universal and go on throughout time. So we're so excited to have it. I was just in Tampa with my peers across the country that run large performing arts complexes, and everybody was talking about the Hamilton impact and the phenomenon that it is, and how to manage expectations. That it will be back, much like the Book of Mormon. Everyone wanted to see it in the beginning, and then it comes back, and it really becomes part of the base that everybody wants to put in their season. So we're so excited to have it.
I am too. And then my last question for you is, we've talked all about these different theaters, different productions. Do you have a favorite production you could name?
Well,
or maybe a top couple, if that's too hard.
Sure. No, I am so excited about the Book of Will that we just had. Did you see it?
Yes.
It was great, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. So it was super amazing to see Lauren Gunderson put something so beautiful in the Ricketson here at the DCPA, and we had to add shows because the demand was so amazing. And the governor came, and he loved it, and he tweeted it out to 77,000 people about how amazing it was. And that's what makes me really proud to be here, is just that it's new work, it's local work, and then we'll see it move across the country. And so that's my favorite of recent. Hamilton was really impressive, and and it was really neat to see Mamma Mia come through. It's the end of its run, and so I think a lot of people were very, retrospective and how much impact ABBA had on, they have great music and we're going to make a show around it.
So let's take a minute and talk about that. You sent out kind of a newsletter, your personal letter.
We did an editorial in the paper, an opinion editorial in the newspaper. So the National Endowment for the Arts is one of 17 programs that the president and the administration are looking at cutting. And I understand, really, really, truly understand that we're making hard decisions about taxpayer dollars and where we make investments. And this is the job of Congress and of the president, is to really weigh our values and figure out where we need to make investments. I believe that investing in the arts is one of the most important things we can do. It gives people hope, it gives them a forum in which to talk about important emerging issues and to celebrate our past, and sometimes just to escape. And there are so many programs that come through arts that give people a different way of looking at the world. And the $150 million that the NEA is funded with is a very small amount of the budget, and I understand that it's only one of the 17 programs that's looking at being cut, but I think it's a testament to investing in our values. And so for that, we support the investment, and I'm very concerned for especially poorer and more rural communities that if they don't have these grants, that we'll see arts continue to be unfunded, and that'll have a tremendous and devastating impact.
Exactly. And since you have some of that background, will you talk about how that money finally gets trickled down into the theaters?
Sure. So there are so many different programs that are eligible for grants. So organizations, we actually receive a very small amount of our budget through the NEA, but many communities apply for grants, and then there's either matching grant opportunities or the return on the investment of the federal government yields such a strong economic impact that students receive scholarships and training and education, and the list is just so long. But it's really a process whereby an applicant has to be compared to other organizations and demonstrate that they'll have an impact. It's not just money that's given out without due diligence.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That was perfect.